Hello, and welcome to the premiere episode of Ringside Radio. This is GrimmChorizo.
I'm KatrinaCena.
I'm SchloppyJoe.
And we are here to talk about wrestling for a while, because that's what we do. Like
We
Mark
love
Henry.
wrestling!
That's what we do! That's what I do!
That's what I do.
Why don't we dive into recapping what's been going on in WWE? I assume if you're watching this, you are following it, but if you're not,
You should be.
So,
Follow now!
it's been going, there's been, stories going on, because that's how wrestling works. There are storylines, and the ones kind of going on now trace all the way back to SummerSlam, where Daniel Bryan, one of all of our favorites, won the title for about, what was it, maybe a minute or?
I think it was 2 or 3.
2 minutes maybe.
We're talking 3 at the most here.
Yeah.
Then
not very long.
There were some broken hearts in the house that night.
It was a sad time, but we got the Randy Orton heel turn, which I don't know. It's been kind of.
It's been long anticipated.
It's been long anticipated. But I feel like it's not completely satisfying, at least for me. I don't know. I'm glad he's heel, but it still just feels kind of lame. I don't know.
It seems very one-dimensional, just like, I'm a bad guy.
Yeah. So Daniel Bryan's chasing the title. He's been doing that for a while, and Big Show
is crying a lot.
Big Show cries a lot.
On Raw, he
did not cry.
He finally grew a pair.
So Big Show has finally stood up for himself. He knocked out Triple H, where Triple H is now the leader of this new corporation thing, which is basically him and Stephanie, who is, she is just a...
She is not a nice person.
No.
It's basically the McMahon-Helmsley era 14 years later,
Exactly.
when they're kind of middle-aged and have children now.
Yeah.
Going through a midlife crisis.
Probably, I'm thinking that might be the issue now that you bring it up. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
And we've got the Shield as the personal enforcement of this group, and they still have the titles, which it's interesting with the Shield how when they won the titles it was so exciting, but it almost felt like once they won the titles they lost a lot of matches.
Yes.
It just was really odd how...
And the fact that they're not really doing anything.
Yeah, they don't really need the titles to do what they're doing. Of course, I like that they have them, they deserve them, but... I mean,
they don't need them for what their gimmick is.
Think of all the people who could hold the U.S. title right now. Think of all the tag teams who could...
The Usos!
Yes.
Ooh!
So they are long overdue for tag team titles. How long have they been in WWE? Maybe like 2010?
Oh gosh.
9 maybe? Maybe not.
I don't know, it's a good question.
I'm just going to randomly say maybe 2010.
We'll go with that,
maybe.
yeah.
A few years now.
So, and the thing about the Usos is they came in as a tag team and they've been a tag team the whole time. They're not just like thrown together.
Well, and they clearly look like a tag team.
They are brothers, obviously.
They kind of look alike.
They are a tag team, whereas other teams that are kind of thrown together, like Brodus Clay and Tensai, or even the Primetime Players were thrown together through NXT.
Right.
But I still think they are a good tag team. But
and at least they do deserve the titles because they've kind of got shafted out of them for a few times. But there are people who really
the Usos just
deserve them.
They are definitely in line for tag team title.
Well, and I mean second generation superstars too.
Yeah.
And here's my thing with the Usos. Well, I'm biased because I really like them, but they push them and they push them and they push them and they're winning matches and they're in 6-man tags and they're main eventing, and then they're not in a tag title match, or they are and they don't win it, or they're on the pre-show of a pay-per-view. That's what I'm not.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me.
And then tag matches like Santino and Khali make it on the main card. That just should never happen.
Yeah,
That's another story for a different day. We'll try to.
We don't have time. We don't have time for this.
Yeah. And actually, so the top stories have been, you know, Triple H, and really Triple H is the top heel. It's not really Randy Orton. It's Triple H and Stephanie. Where
Randy
Daniel
Orton
Bryan,
just kind of his.
It's kind of the story of Triple H's career.
Yeah.
They just can't. The only time they can really make him a face once his career took off was when he was returning from an injury.
Yeah.
Other than that, he was born to be a heel. He's so good at what he does. So good at what he does.
And Daniel Bryan,
he plays the face very well, but
part of
I think he's just so much better heel.
Part of the reason he plays the face well is just off of the pure love of the fans.
Yeah,
you know?
everybody loves him so much.
And actually, a friend of mine said, was an indie wrestler. Here's what he said. You know, he's been a heel, he's been a face, and last time he turned heel, here's what he said about it. The thing about being a heel is you have to be very selfless. You have to make the other person look good. Mm-hmm. Your job is to, you know, be the guy that gets beat up because the fans love it. Not necessarily you're putting them over, you know, just to put them over, but you have to be selfless in the sense that you're the one who looks like, you know, the slimy crook who, you know, maybe doesn't deserve what they have.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think I'd never heard it put that way, and I think that's very interesting.
Yeah.
To me, I think it would be easier to play a heel just because, I mean, you can actually do whatever you want, but you
within
can,
reason,
yeah, and it'd just be easier to get people not to like you.
But it'd
be so hard to cut a promo against somebody who you're not supposed to like, but not be a bad guy about it.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would be the hardest part.
And sometimes face promos are just ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, here, an example.
Oh, my bow levers.
Bow.
Yeah, no.
More bow. Which, at least they're finally going. They turned
the fact that people don't like
Bo
him.
Dallas heel. Thank the Lord, because he's just...
That wasn't working for him.
He's not good. So, why don't we go back to the recent pay-per-view, which... I don't want to say was a flop, but it was. It was probably...
If he won't say it, I will. It was a flop.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
We watched it.
Not the greatest.
And
there was one match that really stood out, and I think that we all probably share the same opinion on it.
Yeah. Battleground, this was its first year, and none of us were really excited for it. But we decided to watch it anyways, and
the power went out.
Yes, the power went out. But the match card, like, I had excitement for the one that, you know, stole the show. The Rhodes, Cody and Goldust versus Rollins and Reigns for their jobs was match of the night. Really the only selling point of the pay-per-view, because the Orton and Daniel Bryan match, of course, was a good match.
It's been done, though.
But it's been done, and they found a way to ruin the ending. It
was like watching the end of Raw.
Exactly.
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt, but I knew exactly what you were thinking there.
What's odd about it is, normally, I guess, as much as I don't want it to be, they found a way to not have a champion for 2 pay-per-views.
Yeah.
And even if they were going to do that, they could have at least called the match a draw. Like, they didn't actually acknowledge the match ending. Everyone was just knocked out. Why couldn't anyone come out and
even if they would have had the ref count them out for being
I think that was part of it.
That would have been a better ending.
At least there would have been
an ending. Yeah.
Something decisive.
They just ended it.
Which would have been helpful.
Or, I don't know, DQ'd somebody for having Big Show interfere.
Yeah, there was no finish to the match, which was just very odd. It was not a good peyper-view, not widely positively received by us or anyone that I know.
CM Punk is not impressed.
Yeah, and the CM Punk Heyman thing, it's
too much.
It's going on way too long.
And it's getting really, really, really awkward.
And you're looking at 3, huge CM Punk fans.
Yeah.
Look
at what the shirts he's wearing.
Yeah.
Pretty much just... But
here's how I feel about the whole Heyman Punk feud. I thought it was really, really awesome when he was fighting Lesnar around SummerSlam, and then when it kind of it kind of dropped off there because obviously Lesnar's too good to stay around for more than like 2 nights. But like him or hate him, that match at SummerSlam was fantastic.
Yeah, it was.
But
Definitely.
he left, and the Punk Heyman feud continued, and they brought in Axel, who's basically been on the back burner because of, Lesnar and stuff. And Axel really has had kind of maybe an insignificant title run because it just doesn't feel like he's defending it.
And if they're not going to use him as a champion and just use him as Heyman's bodyguard or whatever, they need to take the title off of him.
Yeah. It feels like he doesn't defend it. He actually does, but they're not built up or anything.
The best match he had with it was when he won it.
Oh, that was...
And the only reason it was so good was because of how he won it.
The finish was great, and the fact that it was like Father's Day and stuff. That was a very cool moment.
That was very cool.
Yeah.
Not to get too off topic, but I think pay-per-view of the year is Payback.
Yeah,
yes,
definitely.
Definitely.
That was the Chicago one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfectly
the one
stacked
that Punk
pay-per-view.
came back for.
Everything about it was just so good. So, and that was when Axel won the title there. So I think we're all in agreement.
Yes.
Payback.
Yep.
It's basically like Payback is, way up here, and Battleground is not even on the screen. But not even on the screen.
It's down here underneath this table here.
Battleground, -5.
It was just... I'm trying to think of this year really long-term stories that even occurred. The fans are kind of like, okay, it's the same thing every month, every week even. I remember when Daniel Bryan and Orton's thing was starting, it seemed Raw ended and SmackDown ended the exact same way every week. Daniel Bryan down and out, and you just wanted that satisfaction of Bryan to get the upper hand. And he finally did, and now it's kind of like,
but that was a good point in the feud, but it needed to happen a lot sooner than it did.
Yeah. I do recall the night when the locker room emptied to help.
Yeah.
That was very cool.
That was awesome.
I thought they could have done a
cool.
little more with that.
Yeah.
But, whatever.
Well, they had the thing on SmackDown where all those who stepped in on Bryan's behalf were in trouble, and, which then they were put in 3-on-1 a gauntlet match against the Shield. Please tell me how that makes sense. Please tell me how they're being punished.
Yeah.
To me, that falls more on the Shield being punished.
And I think...
I'm just saying that I'm sitting there watching SmackDown going,
exactly.
really?
So 11 on...
I mean, I'm glad to see Seth Rollins for a long time, but go on, guys.
Yeah. So...
Yeah, that was a bit mad.
It was 20 people! 20!
Sorry. You guys are punished, so we're going to have all of you fight the 3 of them.
I'm
okay. It just kind of doesn't... So here's something, it is going on in WWE. We haven't touched on it yet because I don't think any of us like it, but there is a superstar who is the current World Heavyweight Champion.
No!
We probably should address... His name is Alberto Del Rio, and he might be the most boring world champion since...
And apparently that's cool.
So he has basically held the...
Piggybacking somebody else's gimmick. Can't stand it.
Yeah.
Can't stand it. Gosh.
He did it with Orton too last year. He's
Yep.
like, I'm the new Apex Predator. It's like, can you just come up
That's
with
like
anything?
his thing. Like, no originality, just sorry.
He really is very boring. And
he's very
he can do a pretty good enziguri, but
but that's about all he has going for.
He can make people really dislike him, but for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
In my opinion, because he is boring.
Yes.
So people don't like him. He piggybacks other people's gimmicks, so people don't like him. At least that's one of the reasons that
it's true.
I'm not a fan.
He's not charismatic, and
he's not a good worker.
And he does this!
What
does this mean?
Yeah, he's just like, it's the Del Rio, it's the thing. He's got his scarf.
He's got the bucket.
Here's my main thing with
I just want to beat him with
other
it.
than he's boring, is the fact that you can very, very clearly tell he's somebody that the company themselves has to see so much in for some reason.
Right.
Because if you think about, he debuted in like late 2010 or so, and basically he's had everything. He's really done everything.
Let's not talk about the 2011 Royal Rumble, please.
Well, we won't talk about that, but he won it.
No.
He won the Royal Rumble.
You said you wouldn't talk about it.
We will not mention that Santino was the last person eliminated.
No.
So he won the 2011 Royal Rumble.
Fail.
That same year, he main events WrestleMania, as in first match.
Oh,
But
please no.
he fought Edge for the world title in Edge's last match.
Edge's last match.
That same year,
against this guy.
He wins Money in the Bank.
I mean, why don't we put Joseph in Edge's last match? I mean,
that would have been a lot
at least
better, and that's saying something.
At least be more meaningful.
Thank you, Graham.
So he wins Money in the Bank.
Suck.
He wins the WWE title. The WWE title. The title that can't even find a person to hold it right now. He holds it twice. Twice, right? He holds it twice in the course of a few months.
No.
Then, after injury, whatever, comes back straight into the world title scene. He hasn't left the world title scene.
No, he really hasn't.
He has not left.
Well, and I think part of that is...
left it for a couple pay-per-views, but they put him right back in it afterwards.
I think part of that is Sheamus being out on injury, so they have to fill that spot.
Yeah.
But there's other people who they could put in instead of him. There's so
RVD.
Yeah. So he's had this feud with RVD, kind of. And
well, he is in it, but come on.
Well,
why is Del Rio still...
RVD is like taking a break or whatever, right now, so they can't continue
Christian
that. But
was going over at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
But
nope.
The Rhodes got their jobs back after fighting for so long. Daniel Bryan still chasing the title and has a match at Hell in a Cell. Triple H is a dick.
For lack of a better term.
We have some returning superstars, but we will catch on that.
We will talk about that later.
So why don't we move on?
Somebody here's a bit excited for it.
Why don't we move on to a little segment where we... So I have a list of 100 randomly just thrown together superstars, divas, and a few tag teams. Each one is numbered. Each time we do a podcast, we're going to randomly pick a number that correlates with that, superstar, diva, or tag team, and we will just talk about them for a little bit. So I'll bring up the list.
Completely random. So this will be really fun.
In fact, I'll show you. I'll try and show you. You probably can't really tell, but here it is. Here's the list. I will get on my phone. We have bigger plans for this later, but for now, I'm going to use a random number app.
So now, this is what you're getting, but it will be better. We promise.
So here we go. 0 to 100. 0 to 100. I will press the generate button. Whatever number it is, that's who we'll talk about. We don't know who it is. Number 27. 27! I don't know if you can see that. Let's see who it is.
You'll just have to take our word for it.
Number 27 is Gregory Helms.
Oh!
Yes!
Okay.
Who just recently got married.
Congratulations, Gregory Helms.
I thought that was Matt Hardy.
Well, a few months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either way,
fails.
if that's true, congratulations. So Gregory Helms.
He tweeted about it.
Okay.
Okay, well, it must be
I
legit.
guess more popularly known as the Hurricane in WWE. So yeah, this is pretty interesting. I've never
This
seen
is a good one.
Gregory Helms. Yeah. So, Sloppy, what do you think about Gregory Helms?
Well, as the Hurricane, he wasn't a very strong character to me. I mean, as a little kid, I loved him, but
the Hamburglar.
He was like that superhero character that every little kid loved. I mean, but then when he dropped the mask and became Gregory Helms, he was one of the best cruiserweight champions.
Yeah.
He did hold it for a very long time.
Yeah, he had it for a very long time, and he had some of the best matches for it.
What do you think about Gregory Helms, Katrina?
Okay, this is actually really funny. I have like the old person perspective. I'm 26.
She is pretty old.
I'm pretty old. I'm 26, and I've been a fan pretty much since before I could write my name. So that, I mean, a long time. I actually saw him as Shane Helms in WCW. He was with Evan Courageous and Shannon Moore. They were 3 count. They were basically a really bad boy band ripoff. And they sang this song. They had these little green dots. My mom called them lily pads. It made me laugh. And they stood on these little green dots in the middle of the ring. They dressed all the same. So really, they were like a cheap boy band. And they just wore the most ridiculous clothes. Like, they just screamed, "I'm stuck in the 90s!" Which at the time it was the 90s, so that made sense. But they actually gave them live mics and let them sing. Gosh,
Wait, when you say cheap boy
know,
band, do you mean like Hanson or like Backstreet Boys?
I know you didn't just. I love Hanson, by the way, so I'm gonna slap him when we're not on camera because right now I'm gonna rise above hate. Anyway, they sang this song, and I was maybe 11, and I thought they were the greatest thing ever. Now I wanted to plug my ears so they didn't bleed when they would sing, but I thought they were so cool because I was little. Anyway, so that was my initial perspective on who I knew as Shane Helms. He was an Omega with the Hardys a long, long, long time ago, which is also really cool. And I've actually got to meet him. I've gotten to meet him twice, actually. May of 2005, I think. Something like that.
That's scary.
Just a quick autograph in the parking lot, that was it. And then he came to my favorite indie promotion, Dreamwave, a couple years ago, and I got to meet him then too. And actually, he's returning to Dreamwave next month. So I'm very excited to see him again, and I understand he's going to be wrestling there too. So definitely a long kind of past with Gregory Helms, and definitely a very talented wrestler too.
Yes, very.
So I know I kind of just touched on my perspective, but definitely an awesome wrestler and a great entertainer too.
He actually had a small rivalry with The Rock, I believe, which is pretty.
Yes, that's where the Hamburglar thing
Yeah, which
came
is pretty
from.
impressive for,
someone
not
who was more
everybody just
considered a
gets
cruiserweight.
Yeah, but and he also had tag team with Kane. That's a pretty Kane is he just has tag teams with everyone in that, and they're always so amusing. But
pretty soon it'll be Joseph.
I'm not gonna
Kane
lie.
and Joseph.
I actually
That would
want to
be
be next in
awesome.
line for Kane's tag team partner. We're actually I've been talking to him. He's been out on injury or whatever. We're talking about getting a tag team finisher and everything. I'm gonna get the mask and
Wow. Can I have your autograph when that happens?
Yes.
Sweet.
Yeah, we're working on the
Something
tag
to look forward
team.
to.
Yep.
So Gregory Helms. Then once he actually was Gregory Helms, I remember he wore the a hat. He had like a vest or something.
Yes.
Yeah, he had
And a chain, I want to say.
and
yeah.
he held the cruiserweight title for a long time, and that was when the cruiserweight division was not against him or anything, but it was starting to. The matches were quality and great, but it was starting to fall on the fact that it just didn't have earlier the cruiserweight title would probably change hands maybe every month or every few months, where Gregory Helms, which there's nothing wrong with this, it just wasn't really a title that seemed to hold for lengths of time, where he held it.
Right.
I really think it was about a year. It might not have been, but it really seemed like it. It was 2006 era or 2005. I don't remember, but the cruiserweight title kind of died, and when Hornswoggle got a hold of it, and
And it ruined the entire credibility of the title.
Yes.
which I know this is supposed to be all about Gregory Helms, but it just leads into the cruiserweight division, how it's
Not being used properly currently.
it's not even.
It's not
a
existent.
thing.
It's not existent,
It's not
yeah.
if we're going to be honest.
where it so easily could.
There's so many talented cruiserweights that they could do something with.
If I had to choose a title to bring back, I think that would be my first pick,
Yes.
honestly. I mean, hardcore obviously would be amazing and hilarious.
Just
but
hit another old title with a hammer and put hardcore on it and throw it out there. Come on, guys.
But
Make this happen.
cruiserweight, I think, is more, feasible. It can happen, it just won't. But that
Well,
would
and
be,
there are so many guys, too, in NXT
oh my
that they
God.
could bring
Yes.
up and just, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And even people on the current roster.
There's a lot.
There's a lot
Right,
of people who
there
they
are.
could use.
Basically, your jobbers, there you go.
Yes.
Because a lot of them are cruiserweights.
Yep.
They just, Yoshitatsu is on the roster. What
Yeah.
he done, and he can wrestle. He's good. They all can
Yeah.
wrestle. If they're
Yes.
there, they can wrestle. So
Well,
do
and that's
something.
exactly right. And
They should use them for something. And imagine if, say they did bring back the cruiserweight division, they wanted to just give it credibility right away. Have a returning Rey Mysterio or something. Just
Yes.
start it off. Be the inaugural champion of the new thing, and then
yeah.
Well,
that's a
if
good
he,
way to
if,
just start
if he
it off.
cannot be injured long enough to
Exactly.
This poor
come
guy.
back.
He's gonna have to call it quits.
Yes, he really does.
Which is unfortunate.
It is. Maybe if he
He's
can.
such an awesome wrestler, but he's getting
Yeah,
old
he's.
and
Well,
great.
he's very injury prone now.
Yes.
That's what's getting the best of him. Not necessarily even his
And his-
age, but
yeah.
he's done so much.
and
for
his
so
very
long.
unique style
Yeah.
is really hard on the body. And as
While
long
we're
as
on the
he's
subject of
doing it.
cruiserweights, maybe the best one of all time, honestly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And I think one of the saddest things is he always seems to have an injury right around WrestleMania, so he's missed it for the past 2 years. He missed 29, he missed 28. So if he could just get another good match at 30,
Right.
I think he probably could.
He deserves it.
He
He deserves
does.
another good run before,
Because the last one, 27, was with Cody Rhodes, I believe. That was his last one, which is...
Yep.
That was one of the best matches of that card,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
WrestleMania 27...
Oh my gosh. No.
Not good.
No.
I kind of wanted to touch on this in the recap, but we'll just call this NXT segment. I kind of want to talk about NXT a little bit. So, I honestly think NXT is the best show there is of WWE right now.
I definitely agree.
I actually just caught up on a lot today because I used to, during the summer I would try and watch it, and I'd have these guys over and we'd watch it quite frequently to, catch up with it, which it really should just be on TV.
It really should. Yes.
It really is, and Katrina said it before, it's like watching a big indie show that's it's very gimmicky, and it's just awesome to know that
really
these
awesome.
And it's about wrestling.
And
It's not about storylines. It's not about the corporate jack rear end being oppressive, and it's about wrestling. And they do have storylines, but the characters are legitimate. And yeah, it is gimmicky. They have gimmicks, but the gimmicks are built into storylines that make sense.
Yeah.
And the wrestling is phenomenal.
It's incredible. It's
really
some of the best
reminds
wrestling
me-
they have.
Yes. And I do get to see a lot of indie wrestling. I have over the past several years, and it really does remind me a lot of even my favorite indie promotion, Dream Life. It reminds me a lot of that. I wish it was on TV.
Yeah.
Yes, it really should be. I mean, and I understand they don't film it very often, but...
Yeah, they kind of film a few at a time.
I'd rather see that than an event.
Yeah.
Or Total Divas.
Oh,
well, let's just not even talk about that.
That's kind of like bringing up Santino. We just don't go there.
Just catching up on NXT, kind of what's been going on. Bo Dallas is still the NXT champion. They finally turned...
Oh, Lever!
Yeah, and he is...
Who here's a
he
Bo
still
Lever?
cannot cut a promo. I don't think anyone is a Bo Lever. One thing that's awesome about NXT, the crowd
I don't think
just...
anybody's above me.
The crowd is just great, and NXT knows their crowd. They work with the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
They finally heard the crowd. They turned Bo heel, and the top face right now is Sami Zayn.
Who is...
El Generico.
El Generico.
Awesome.
Yes.
He's actually kind of, while Daniel Bryan's chasing the WWE title, Sami Zayn's kind of chasing the NXT title, and he's just not getting his shot because Bo Dallas won't give it to him because Bo Dallas got injured at SummerSlam Access. He got injured, so he hasn't wrestled for months, and now he's finally cleared, and he had an invitational, which he said anyone could participate in except Sami Zayn.
What?
Well, Sami Zayn came out. He stole.
Okay, I'm hearing this for the first time. This is crazy.
Me too. We're both hearing this.
He had a match with El Local, who is Ricardo Rodriguez under a mask, but
Oh no.
he can wrestle well. He really can. But he stole his.
He can take a beating.
We've all seen this on Raw and SmackDown. We know that you take a beating.
So Zayn
Sorry.
steals his gear, comes out and wins the Invitational, takes off the mask, and it's him. So now next week, I'm excited for it. He's got a match for the NXT Championship.
Wow.
We actually have new NXT Tag Team Champs. They were just crowned last week. The Ascension, who I feel like they've been on NXT for a long time, and they finally got the goal. They beat Adrian Neville, who...
Oh, the guy that does the crazy flippy
He
stuff.
is the most insane...
Pac.
Yes.
I think he's known as Pac on the Indies.
Yeah.
But he's the most...
Yeah.
He legitimately has done the most insane things I've ever seen. I've never seen him live, obviously, or anything, but just clips. He's
He
insane.
hasn't seen very many Prince Mustafa Ali matches.
No, but
There was
seeing a
was
TLC right in front of us
Yeah.
with him was
that was interesting.
people going through.
might have been the most extreme thing I've ever seen in my life. Bo Dallas is the champ. I think he is just can't cut a promo worth of crap.
Did you see my eyes roll just now? Because they did.
And honestly, every time I've seen him wrestle, I haven't been impressed with his wrestling
He's not
either.
that great.
His face is just stupid.
He
I don't have
You
to
see his
talk,
face, and
but-
you just want to punch it. He has one of those faces you just want to punch over and over and over again.
Yeah. Sami Zayn I was talking about earlier, who
Yes.
just
Is
amazing,
awesome.
so good.
Well, he came from Ring of Honor, so,
Leo Kruger
I
is
expect
awesome South
Yes.
African. They call him the South African Hunter. His theme song, oh my gosh, it's so good. Just saying. But he is a very, very, very interesting wrestler who I think they could do a lot of good things with when he comes to the main roster. There's a new guy who actually, he's probably not that new, but he may have been repackaged or something. The name sounds familiar, but this is the first I really saw of him. His name is Aiden English.
Yes.
I've heard of him.
Is that the really random looking
Yes.
guy?
He has a mustache.
He has a mustache,
okay.
yes.
I don't know if this was his gimmick
Yes.
before, but now I've already fallen in love with this gimmick. Oh my god, it's so cool.
Man crush?
I don't know. He's
Just a little. Just a little.
his entrance music is he comes out and sings. He sings. He's a singer. He actually
Probably
apparently
better than Shane Helms.
Oh,
back
he
in the
actually
day.
can sing. He's like an entertainer in all sorts, but his gimmick is that he's trying to bring the E back to WWE. And he comes out, he sings, and he actually can sing. He said he played the Phantom, Javert, and somebody else from musicals.
Wow.
And he actually sings well, but it's just, his style is very, it's just unique. They've really done something, they've had people sing.
I've never really seen him wrestle. Every time I've seen him wrestle, he's jobbing.
Exactly.
And he
Right.
just
Well, and
destroys.
he just looks like a random guy.
Yeah.
He's not a guy you'd see on the
But-
street and be like, you look like a
Yeah,
wrestler.
they're doing something with him, and maybe we can check that out soon. I can show you, because
That would be cool.
I think he's awesome. It's very cool. There's a guy named Tyler Breeze who the fans, for some reason, are in love with, and I can't
I
stand him.
hate that guy.
He's the guy, he takes
don't remember
selfies
him.
all the time.
Oh, no, not that guy.
Yes.
The crowd loves him. Love.
Seriously?
Yes.
They cannot get enough of him.
The guy that his entrance
Yes.
is like 5 minutes long because
Yes.
he's taking pictures of
The
himself.
crowd loves him, and
Huh.
he can wrestle, definitely, but
Do you think they're playing at like a ravishing Rick Rude,
yeah.
Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig type, narcissistic type of
Yes,
gimmick?
very much. And
Huh.
his face, it's another one you just want to punch. But I can't take anything away from his wrestling ability, but oh my gosh, I can't stand him. As far as divas,
Yes,
All
that
that-
is one thing
Here
that
they go.
NXT is doing right. They're capitalizing
So-
on their Divas division, and they are so good.
Paige is
Yep, here it goes.
just...
We might as well just go get some popcorn,
Yeah.
go to McDonald's.
I'm in love with
And
Paige,
they'll still
Still be talking.
but I'm also in love with AJ, so either way, when Paige
He's
comes up
conflicted.
to the
Did you
roster,
have him to talk?
I think the eyes are going to come onto the Divas division, not just for their looks, they're going to realize there's very good wrestling coming from there.
Yes.
Emma is another
Emma
girl who
is
can wrestle
awesome.
very well, and she dances. And
Yes, she does.
And then
That's a fun entrance. I have to
Yeah,
say, it is
very-
pretty cool. Like it's.
I guess
And it's catchy. It gets stuck in your
Yeah,
head.
the crowd loves it.
I can't think of it right now, and I don't want to because I'll be up
Yes.
all night probably.
She does
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, but I guess my favorite
But the
thing...
crowd does it. Like
Yeah.
they're like.
The crowd loves her, yeah.
To kind of wrap up this NXT thing, the main thing that is just so awesome is these wrestlers are going to be on the main roster someday, which is awesome.
But the question is, are they going to let them
use them,
shine?
yeah. But
Right, yep.
it's just already I started watching NXT I guess weekly. I remember before the Wyatt family came up to
Yeah.
the main roster, and it was just weird to think these guys are now on TV weekly
Right.
instead of on NXT. All these people are going to be there. Cassius Ohno is going to be there.
Well, and all three members of the Shield,
yeah.
were called up. From
It's just
NXT.
very cool. So if you don't watch NXT, watch it,
Should.
because
Well, you're
it
looking
truly-
at the future superstars.
it
Yes.
truly
really are.
is the best thing in WWE. Not taking anything away from our SmackDown. It's obviously we watch that.
Well, clearly
usually-
we love WWE.
Yeah, but NXT is where it is truly at.
Well,
So,
that's where the wrestling
they're-
is.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is pure wrestling. They have their talking segments, but they
Yeah.
don't take a half an hour.
Mhm. Yeah, the show itself, each episode's about 50 minutes.
Yeah.
So, and you get about 4 or 5 matches, and there's story, there's little story,
And there's backstage interviews and
yeah,
stuff.
and they
but
have guests from actual main roster
Yeah.
coming to wrestle. RVD was on the latest one. The one before that, or a few before that was Fandango. So yeah, it's very good.
Well,
so that-
and a few months ago, they had Dean Ambrose on there defending his title as
yeah,
well.
they had the whole Shield return,
Yeah.
which was just awesome.
Well, a buddy of mine went a while ago, and Shawn Michaels and Triple H were there.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
Yeah, that
and
would
I
be-
think the Undertaker is
Undertaker was
before
that one.
too.
It's how would you like it? Just go there.
Pay
and
$10
just,
for your ticket.
It's like
Undertaker's
Yeah.
there.
There's
It's
the Undertaker.
So now we're gonna try something for your viewing pleasure. We'll call it the funny clip of the month. So, here it is.
Took some popcorn from somebody. Whoa! Ah! That's a fail by the Strangler. Don't know where that is. Oh my God! Hope he didn't keep smaller than. Oh, WrestleMania! Not such a shockmaster if I've seen such an impressive entrance.
Ah, there it was. That was. Oh man.
But that was a real knee slapper.
That is just. That's a good one. So yeah, we'll try to work that in every time. We'll just do something funny that we've seen, and obviously we don't own the rights to whatever that is and all that, but
We've got plenty of good ideas
Yes.
cooking up that we can add to this segment.
the next pay-per-view coming up is Hell in a Cell, which they have now moved on, obviously, with the gimmicky
Yes.
pay-per-views, which
Which
At
I
least
think
we
we're
know
all on
that-
the same page on this one. We don't really like them.
yeah,
It's too predictable because you obviously know there's going to be a Hell in a Cell there, and
yeah.
like last year's Hell in a Cell, they didn't use that match properly.
Yeah, so Orton, Daniel Bryan, round 3, right? Round 3, maybe we'll actually get a champion. But the best part
Let's hope
is
so.
there was a vote for the special guest referee.
Oh yes.
Now,
Yes.
I'm sure you already know who it is, but first choice was Booker T. That's cool.
That's
Second was Bob Backlund. That was kind of
That would have been
Random.
awesome. I'm sorry.
It's very random though.
Bob Backlund is awesome.
And then number 3, I remember sitting and I wasn't expecting. I thought for sure it was going to be Mick Foley or JBL.
Mhm.
Well, JBL's not a Hall of Famer. I'm sorry.
Right.
But Mick Foley, just because they usually have him do that kind of stuff. You
Yeah.
know? But when Sean's music hit, I lost it. I couldn't believe it.
That
That
was
was
awesome.
very cool. So
Yes.
obviously, Shawn Michaels won. So Shawn will be the special guest referee for Hell in a Cell. That's never happened before.
Yes. At least he shaved his face.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
Yes.
Yeah. So that will be exciting.
But you also have to think about this though. He's best friends with Triple H.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Right. Well, he did make it very clear that that is on a personal standpoint, not
Yes.
from a business standpoint,
Yes,
where
but-
they're obviously not seeing eye to eye on a
Yes.
business
But you
standpoint.
never know though. I mean, but there's also the thing that he trained Daniel Bryan.
So what are your guys' prediction? Just a flat out prediction. What do you think is going to happen with this match?
I haven't honestly thought about it a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah,
I've
neither
just been so excited about the fact that Shawn Michaels and Bryan Danielson are going to be in the ring at the same
Yes.
time.
All right.
Sorry.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead.
You've heard of Fangasm? Oh my gosh.
I know there'll be a champion. I just assume it's going to be Randy Orton. With Shawn's, input in this match, he could very well, which I don't want him to. He could be the factor of a win.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they would have Shawn turn on Daniel Bryan because
I don't
they
really
just
think
had
so
Triple
either.
H do that.
Yes.
And the idea of a possible, not Shawn wrestling obviously, but a Shawn Triple H kind of rivalry still happening. Obviously Shawn isn't going to fight, but just the fact that they could butt heads again would be very exciting. So I don't really have a strict prediction either.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where,
I think it'll be a very good match.
yeah, I think
It'll be
I guess
worth
I think it's going to
watching.
be Orton just because I want it to be Daniel Bryan.
Whatever it is, whatever happens, I think there's going to be a lot of, they're going to play to Shawn a lot. Whether he's conflicted over, whose side to take, or, emotional over the fact that, his protege, so to speak, is in a match of this magnitude.
While
Who knows,
his best friend
Right.
is
Yeah.
behind the other.
Well, and is there going to be that pressure of, I can't let him down,
Yeah.
or, right.
So
The
it'll be
thing-
very interesting.
And the thing I'm excited about, it's going to be hard for somebody to interfere in the match.
Oh yeah,
Right.
you'd have to be Kane coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Ripping the
Or like
door
break
off.
through the cage or something. So that I'm excited about because it's just going to be those three guys in the ring or in the cell. So let's talk about
Our second
the
main
other main event.
So on Raw, it was announced that Alberto Del Rio, World Heavyweight Champion for the past 40,000 years,
40,000
Way too
centuries,
long.
it seems like.
Day
Day 2 was too long.
will be
Yes,
defending his
too
title
long.
against somebody else, not RVD. he had a match with Ricardo Rodriguez, which he lost.
Which he lost, by the way.
It was announced.
Due to this announcement. Well, the announcement's what caused him to lose.
Yeah.
Still though, he lost.
Because he's like, Irma Gersh.
He will be facing a returning John Cena.
Woo!
So
And the entire neighborhood wakes up.
there's a lot of things cool about this. Obviously, John Cena's returning. Also, it's earlier than expected.
Very
That's
Much
classic
earlier.
John Cena.
Actually,
Yes.
that's funny because, like, not long after, I mean, within, I think, minutes of that announcement being made on Raw, of course, I'm just trying to contain myself and not wake up my mom. I watch Raw with my parents because clearly I don't have cable. And I'm just trying to contain myself. And within minutes, I have a message from somebody on my phone saying, 2 months? You gotta be kidding me. He's coming back in 2 months? And I said, that's him. I mean, he works harder than anybody. And I don't care if you like him or not. Never once have I said John Cena is the greatest wrestler. Never. Never. Have I ever said that?
Nope.
Do I claim that John Cena is the greatest wrestler?
Nope.
No. Do I claim that John Cena is the hardest worker? Yes,
Yep.
I do.
That
Because
is
he is, and I dare you to defy me or anybody else who says that.
Yeah. So I think they've announced one other match officially for Hell in a Cell, and I think it's the rematch of Ryback and CM Punk.
Yeah.
So I guess what would be your predictions for that if you've got one?
Hopefully Punk wins and they Heyman
Yeah.
and they
That would
Punk
be
beats,
that would be ideal.
knocks Ryback out or whatever, and then just beats the crap out of Heyman and to end their feud, because it's been a good feud, but it's gone on way too long.
It has, and we kind of alluded to that
Yeah,
earlier.
very long.
It definitely, it needs to be wrapped up in a little bow and shipped off to Abu Dhabi.
Because I don't see the Punk Lesnar thing being one that is going to require a rematch. If Punk got in a feud with even just a dude from NXT, like I think that would have been better to bring up a new Heyman guy from NXT.
Yeah.
Or bring back a returning person or something.
Yeah. Those are all the matches they really got announced for Hell in a Cell. I see, you never know what's going to happen. Kane could come back anytime, and it's obvious they're just waiting for him to come back to do anything with Bray Wyatt.
Yes.
Which I like.
Anything
Bray
of
Wyatt.
significance.
And I like the Wyatt. Their entrance has
Let's
got
beat
to
up
be-
Kofi every week.
Yeah.
Why? Like, why are you doing this? The thing with Kane...
Kane, get back here!
Yeah. So they still got one of the coolest entrances
Yes,
right now.
they do, yeah.
I want to see it live so bad before that, like,
Right.
that thing.
How we go from flame to LED though, just
They
blows
don't
my
need to
mind.
show that. They
Yeah.
really don't need to
No.
show the "we're here" thing every time.
No.
So
it was good like the first couple
Well,
weeks
that
they
made
were
sense
here.
for a debut.
Yeah.
But
It's
after
kind of
that,
over. It's
I have this
still
real
now.
flame. Let's blow it out and then have an LED light lit. Think of kids watching. Like they probably are legitimately scared of the White Family.
they're probably
Like, that's
having
good.
nightmares about that.
They're a scary. They're the scarier.
Very eerie.
Yeah, which I think it's awesome that they have Kane feuding with him, because back in like our day, Kane was that
He
big
was the
scary
scary guy. The kids would be like, "Oh my god!"
and
But,
now he's like the guy protecting, like the one fighting the big scary guys, and
That is funny. Kane's come full circle.
yeah.
Our little Kane has grown up.
I don't think he's so little anymore.
I don't imagine
I'm
he was
pretty
ever
sure he
little.
wasn't then.
Well, yeah.
Who would you guys call superstar of the month? I think
we all kind of
Maybe.
have the same answer.
I mean, maybe superstar of the past few months
Yes.
might be a better.
Definitely.
Should we all
I
just
think we all might have to say it might be.
Bryan Danielson.
yes, yes, yes.
I think I missed my cue. I thought we were supposed to say his name. I didn't realize we
No,
were going
no.
to guess.
I think we were thinking the
But-
same thing, but you were kind of just off and on.
I was thinking about shiny things.
Yeah, he's definitely.
He's definitely been superstar of the month.
But what if you had to pick?
Somebody
Somebody who
besides
wasn't
him?
Okay, this is very.
Don't take mine.
This is very. It's just starting, but I think Cody Rhodes
Yes.
is in the works for
He
something
took mine.
very.
He's in something
I think
very
he's
big.
finally gonna get that world title.
I think there's a title
Soon.
reign or something coming from
This is
him.
Well, and he's one who's really been up and down too. Like they push him and then they stop, and then
Yeah.
he does nothing for a while, and then
But I think before he gets the world title, I think him and
He can
Goldust
tag-
will have the tag titles,
Which that'd be awesome.
because they're a big enough name that it would make sense to take the titles from the Shield.
there's definitely credibility.
They built the Shields up so much that they can't just have a random tag team do it. Like if the I would
Yeah,
have
you
loved
can
to see
have-
the Usos beat them, but they didn't have that
But
credibility.
I think they
to
could.
do it.
They beat him before.
They have,
Right,
yes.
Yeah.
but they can't have Los Matadores come and be like, "Let the do."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, that would be terrible.
How does that go?
Actually, it's more like, "Ole" or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't see them holding
And there's
the
Mantar's son comes out with them.
And they might be Primo and Epico, probably not though. Cody Rhodes, I know it's very early, but I think this is very...
There's something in the future for him, definitely.
Yeah.
And like when he was...
And we've said that before, but I
But it
don't
happens.
think we've actually meant it as much ever
As
as,
we do
as
now.
now. And he's got his dad and his brother kind of behind him with this too. I think the on-screen, family thing has been awesome.
And it's really...
It's inspiring. It's
Yeah,
really
it
cool to
is.
see.
Yeah, and
Like the moment when they won that Battleground, the locker room emptied and they were
That was great.
that was a great
Yeah, that was an awesome moment. And I'm
And
sure that was
that's
probably
something we're gonna talk about.
I'm sure that was one
years
of
down the road.
the proudest moments of all three of their careers.
Yeah,
Oh,
family
I think
moment
so,
right there.
without a doubt.
Yeah.
So, and as a fan, just like watching that, the Rhodes thing has been, honestly, right now is my favorite.
Yeah,
part
that's
going
the
on
favorite story.
And
Well, because everything else is kind of stale, and this is
Yeah.
something that's
Yeah.
at least somewhat more
it's
fresh.
new and it's exciting, and it honestly it's been what's been making me want to watch Raw the past
Yeah.
few weeks.
Big Show really has had a large effect on what's going on, even
Yeah.
if it is
Yeah.
crying every week. But
Or not crying this
or not,
week.
Yes.
not crying. But I really do think he's up there as far as his impact on
Yeah.
stories. This is probably some of his better involvement in the story in a long time, other than
I would
when
say
last
so.
year when he won the world title out of nowhere. But what if Big Show keeps coming back on Raw and he keeps getting escorted out by security, but then he claims he can be here all he wants because he has somebody saying he can be there.
Yeah.
It turns out it's Vince,
Oh,
who is now Triple H getting out of control or something. I don't know. Just maybe someone in power is for Big Show,
Mhm.
Big Show's action. So, and that's just a thought, but because I don't really know how Big Show's gonna actually
But it would
shot
be
back unless
really-
he fights for it.
It would be really weird if for Vince being in the face role in that whole
Yeah.
thing. It would
it
honestly
would definitely be something that
It would-
fans are
It would
not very
honestly, to
familiar
me,
with.
make sense that Triple H would be the heel and he came up on top and won. Because it would really
Yeah.
kind of have him with jumping both feet in.
Yeah.
But it would just be really weird seeing Vince in that role as the face in a feud like that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, obviously, Vince is very multi-dimensional.
Yeah.
And he'll also
He's-
do anything.
He
Yeah,
will.
He'll do anything,
anything.
for a bit.
I've always said that I may not like a lot of the things Vince does or has done over the years, but that man will do anything for
Yeah, he
money
will.
and ratings
Yep.
and the betterment of
His
his business.
Yeah. He'll do what's best for business.
He believes in what he does like no other. Wow. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
He's something else. He'll pee his pants on TV.
He'll have...
He died on TV for crying out
He did-
loud.
he did. die.
He kind of died and then, well...
The peeing the pants was my favorite though.
Yeah,
With
that's
Stone
true.
Cold in the
Oh,
ring.
yeah.
Oh gosh, that was awesome. Having his head shaved.
Yeah,
Just,
anything, yeah. Take a huge beating from Shawn Michaels at
He's-
WrestleMania. Take a huge beating from,
I was-
anyone.
I wasn't there at all.
No way was she there.
No.
Not at all. If you could only pick one current superstar right now who's just kind of not doing anything, who would be your pick to push, and what would you do with them? What do you think, whether it's repackage them, what would you do, or what title, or what kind of story, or maybe pair them up with somebody, turn them heel, face, anything. Anybody who's just kind of not doing much.
I guess one thing I will say is Kofi Kingston. It kind of blows my mind.
I know.
Do we not know how to use this guy? Because he's incredible, and he's incredibly athletic.
Yeah.
He's so.
Well, and he's proved it year after
He
year.
has. I mean, he has been there for years now.
Yeah.
He's he's very good, and he's a good guy. And I know, unfortunately, a lot of times that doesn't mean anything nowadays, but it does. I mean, it does to me. He's just.
Yeah,
I don't understand why they haven't used him. Right now, he's basically just a fill-in for the Wyatt family until Kane gets back.
And I honestly don't ever see him as a world champion or something, but he could be
I do though. I do.
Yeah.
I haven't got that feeling from, but I think he could be like that top mid-card guy.
But that's where he is.
Yeah.
He's been there
Right,
for too long.
right,
He is basically I see him as in there. They're just like, yeah, Kofi's awesome. We love him. So we'll use him as, we'll give him the Intercontinental title for a few months.
Matt Hardy.
He'll lose it, come back in, get the
No, I love Matt Hardy. I'm just saying
really.
that's how they
He just
always
never made it to
marketed
that
Matt
next.
Hardy, and it was tragic.
Yeah.
One person I think that they need to do something with is Antonio Cesaro.
Oh gosh.
I see him as a future World Heavyweight WWE champion. Whatever. He can do anything, and he is such an incredible wrestler.
The guy is phenomenal.
I mean, like Battleground, he picked Holly up and spun him around in circles.
And then he did it the next night on Raw.
Yeah,
Yes, he
exactly.
did.
And he's just such an incredible guy. He is probably the strongest wrestler they have.
I agree. I think I was just saying something to my mom the other day about he's at least as strong, if not stronger, than Cena.
Yes.
I mean, he
pure
is.
strength, just like...
Wow.
Like, he may not be
The
as
thing where he
big.
did the suplex from over the
Yes.
turnbuckle,
Superplex from the apron, like,
From the
that
apron,
is
yes.
insane.
Yeah.
it's ridiculous is what it is.
He is just such an
How is that
athlete.
not enough? World Heavyweight Champion does not mean anything more. Like, when I think World Heavyweight Champ, like, he's like the strongest guy. I guess one of my picks, I've got a few, but I gotta go with Wade Barrett.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of my... Wade Barrett's awesome. I love Wade Barrett. I really think he is just a badass. He really is.
He really is.
I really like Wade Barrett, and he's one of those guys where I feel kind of like Kofi less because he's been here not as long, but I thought from the start he was just...
He's been around a while.
Yeah,
though.
yeah. But I thought from the start he was just gonna be a main event like that. And he started off in the main event because he was leader of the Nexus and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing about Wade Barrett is they can't seem to just make up their mind with him. Like, he started off, and I swear he's changed entrance themes more in like the course of 3 years than
He changes entrance themes like he changes his underwear.
Leave.
Kind of like Cesaro, he is, and Joseph has actually, I will quote him, he said this, what is it you say, he's radiating or whatever, he's like, radiates world title. He really does. I really think they keep taking him off, like he's off TV now, they're not, I mean, he's on the roster, but I heard that they were repackaging him, but why?
Which I think they need to stop repackaging him.
That's the first I've heard of that.
Yeah, the
he,
Backstreet Brawler or whatever that they have.
Yeah, when he returned,
is good. It's
about a year ago now, when we all thought he's going for that world title, won't be long.
Yeah.
Him and Sheamus had some of the greatest matches last year about this time.
Yeah.
And he never got. I thought him and Sheamus were going to be the world title picture scene, but it became Big Show instead. But Barrett, they don't need to change his gimmick. His gimmick is him and his lifestyle. Like,
that's how they...
He's like a brawler, and like the way they added like the bull hammer elbow, like that. I thought that was a great addition because they kind of like went with it. And really, when you think about it, it's kind of a funny finisher because it's just like an elbow, but at the same time,
it's effective.
It's a legitimate finisher. That's a finish.
Yeah.
It will knock you out. So
Christian Rose, Crown of Thorns.
Yeah. I can't even think about the last time Barrett was on TV. I think it was when he was a barber for Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
And then he got his beard changed.
I want to say there was one match after that.
Yeah, I think he faced Daniel Bryan after that on like
SmackDown. He did actually have a thing. They had like a steel cage match actually.
Really?
On SmackDown.
Oh yeah.
So
they did.
But that was around the end of it. But come on, bring him back and do something with him. Please. So I think those are all three. And there's a lot more.
Drew McIntyre for the love of all that is holy. Please.
Yes.
He's another one, just like, he's got the look to just like, and the skills. Like 3MB has run his course, especially for him.
Yeah.
I could see this. 3MB versus the cluster F of Kali, Santino, and Hornswoggle.
No.
That is money.
WrestleMania 30 main event.
Okay,
do not put it past
him.
Don't put it past him.
There are times when I question my love for professional wrestling, and anytime any of the three of them, Santino, Khali, or Hornswoggle, are in any way in the ring doing anything on TV, I'm really questioning my love for pro wrestling. I really am.
WrestleMania 30. What is your dream? I guess you don't have to do the whole card, but just a few matches that you want.
Well,
WrestleMania 30.
one obvious
Oh, great.
one.
He's going to take all mine. They're in my mind, I promise, and it's not changing.
I know this one's going to be yours because we've talked about this before, but definitely Cena vs. Taker. It's 30. It's the big one. It needs to happen.
I hate you.
Yes,
Cena is like the one person that Taker hasn't faced at WrestleMania.
And Cena has a victory over The Undertaker. I would just like to point that out. July of 2003. I'm just putting that out there.
And
which is crazy.
It's at a point where Undertaker doesn't have much time left. There's only so many people that are left to even like pose a threat.
And the way I always say it is, you know in the back of your head that he's going to win, but
you won't feel like you.
But you have to.
You watch the matches and you're like, oh wow, this actually might end.
You have to put him. You have to put the right person up against him to actually instill those feelings in you. That you know, to have that moment of panic where. You know, oh gosh, this really could be it. The streak could be ending.
John Cena would do it.
Sorry, but he's about the only one that's left.
Yep.
I always hear Punk and Daniel Bryan, which would be awesome. But what I really want to see more than that even is Bryan and Tyler Black or Seth Rollins. But I know he's so wrapped up with the Shield thing right now. But it's inevitable eventually the Shield's going to go their separate ways. Now, will that happen before WrestleMania? That remains to be seen. But I would love to see... I mean, that's WrestleMania. That's got WrestleMania written all over it. It just does, you know. And I'm a huge supporter of independent wrestling. And these are two guys who work their way up the indie system. I mean, I used to know Tyler Black. And just... I can't really describe how I felt when I saw him debut. I mean, I was actually there in person for that too, when he debuted for WWE, but just to see him on... I mean, I cried. I legitimately cried the first time I actually saw him on Raw. And, you know, and Bryan Danielson has a very special place in my heart. And while I never saw him wrestle in Ring of Honor in person, I'd seen so much of him, you know, of course, through the internet. And I did get to meet him once before he really made it big in WWE. And just, they're both very... genuine and humble people who happen to be two of the best wrestlers in the world. Yes. And I would love nothing more than to see them have a match, just a wrestling match at WrestleMania. No gimmicks, no, you know, no stipulation. A wrestling match.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 falls maybe, but like no chairs flying around, nobody, you know, getting involved.
Yeah.
Just a wrestling match.
My 3 main events of WrestleMania 30 would be John Cena, Undertaker. Definitely. We've already touched on why that is amazing and needs to happen. Then, I think WWE title, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk. And it can happen. It actually could happen. Imagine if Daniel Bryan gets the title and CM Punk wins the Royal Rumble or something. Or vice versa. I think that one could actually happen. And that would be just fantastic.
And I never think it's in the works. If it's not at WrestleMania, it's going to happen eventually.
I want to see it again.
Well, it has to.
I think that, and...
That's one of those shut up and take my money moments.
Exactly.
And to think, because you already have Cena with The Undertaker, which is already a main event match in itself. Then you have the title, the WWE title, which is Punk, who's already made his, you know, he's already a legend in his own right, as a modern legend, and Daniel Bryan, who's making that every day. So the two of them can definitely, not just with their talent, but with their big name, they are big names now. They can be the WWE title match. And then the World Heavyweight title match, if the Shield is not still a thing, I'd like to see Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, or even, you know, triple threat between all 3 of them. But really, I would like to see Ambrose and Seth Rollins or Tyler Black oh my gosh, that'd be great. Those 3, and then obviously good matches out of that, but something with AJ, maybe AJ Page for the women's championship.
Not that diva bull hockey.
Maybe on another episode I'll go more into my love for AJ. But actually, it's actually odd. I have said the words AJ like twice this whole time.
That's fascinating.
It is very weird. It just comes up a lot when we talk about wrestling.
I very much love her, and she got a concussion, so I'm really sad. Hopefully, if WWE hears this, they book those matches we were talking about, not the one with Kali or whatever.
No.
We should probably not even bring that up anymore.
Yeah,
we should insert your obligatory clip there of
Michael Scott. Yeah,
the guy flipping out.
No! Yeah. Just imagine, you've got Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, both indie darlings, if you will. Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, they're like the independent wrestling is now. That's where it seems like they're getting a lot of their newer guys are from the independents, which that's awesome. You're getting people who are coming in with the skills they already need. They've been wrestling for however long. They probably have the mic skills. I mean, all four of them have good mic skills. They're not Brock Lesnar or Ryback.
Or Bo Dallas.
Oh my.
Say something stupid, Paul.
So that's just becoming the thing, is it looks like talent is coming from the independents. So,
Definitely.
I mean, I have only been to a select few of independent shows, but Katrina here has a long-standing record of going to independent shows, so...
I have an undefeated streak at Dreamwave Wrestling, actually, in LaSalle. The streak is still intact. I haven't missed a show in their building in almost 5 years.
It's when I get to indie shows like that, it really shows me why I'm a wrestling fan.
Yes.
Yeah, you definitely get that feel more at an indie, than watching TV. I mean, you still do, but when you're...
there's certain aspects, certain matches that are like, oh wow, this is why I'm a wrestling fan, but every time I go to a Dreamwave show or an indie show, I'm just like, yes, this is why I'm a wrestling fan.
Yeah, it's a lot more intimate. You get, you're up there with them, and you actually know them, a lot of them on a personal basis, which is just
insane.
So cool.
My main guy, Jason Hades, is basically, I mean, he's my hero. There's no other way to put it. He's my John Cena of Dreamwave, and first show I went to, April 4th, 2009, was the first Dreamwave show they had, and he was there, and I was just drawn to this character that was like, man, this guy's a jerk. I can't stand this guy. Man, I want to come back next month and just see this guy get his head knocked off. But he's so just very talented, and unfortunately, indie wrestling has lost one of the best performers they will probably ever have, because Jason Hades has decided to retire from wrestling after a 10-year career and just kind of focusing more on other things now. And while I support his decision, while I understand why he's doing what he's doing, I don't like it. In fact, I hate it. He's just one of those who has always been a part of the shows, and he can talk, he can wrestle. Wow, he has a very, very unique and very diverse style, and I guess, but and there's so many talented people in Dreamwave. I'm not taking anything away from anybody else, but this definitely came as a shock to me. On just this past Saturday, I found out that I had just seen his last match. He wrestled Christian Rose in a cage match, steel cage, and it was Dreamwave always manages to outdo itself, and this was no exception. I mean, it was incredible, and he was the reigning Dreamwave champion, and basically passed the title on to Christian Rose, and has made his decision to step away from the ring. I just kind of basically wanted to give a shout out to him because he really is my hero. He's such a good person, and has always really made me feel appreciated as a fan. Not to end on like a sad note, but that's what I got.
Well, thank you, Hades, for your service in the independent circuit, and
you will be greatly missed.
I saw you a few times, and one of the best of the roster by far. Mm-hmm. So Dreamwave Wrestling is an independent we've been talking about it a few times. It's an independent show in LaSalle, Illinois, and we'll actually put a link to their website down in the description. So if you want to check them out, they're high quality independent wrestling. They know what they're doing. So
Definitely. Some of the best I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
And I've seen a lot of indie wrestling.
Wrestling!
Wrestling.
You know, that actually did get kind of... that was kind of an emotional ending. I think we need... Well, let's show that funny clip again, alright? Check this out.
Switch the popcorn to somebody. Whoa!
Yeah. Now that's how we end it. So thank you for watching the pilot, I suppose, of Ringside Radio with GrimmChorizo.
I am KatrinaCena.
And I'm SchloppyJoe.
Check us out next time.
And please don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh yeah. See ya!
And check out the Dream Raid link too,
Peace.
because I said so.
Yes, and this is
Yes.
the part of the show where we each will do a wrestling taunt or pose, and it'll be really awkward. So,
Oh god.
1, 2, hold on. 1, 2, 3.
You can't see me! Okay, that was awkward. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, bye.
Deuces.